Hey everyone, welcome to the ATYL live show on a Wednesday night. Good to see you all as you are tuning in. Good to see some of y'all in the comments already excited about our guest tonight. So love to see that. Of course, if you don't know me, you're new here. My name's Taylor Kitchen, and welcome to ATYL Media, where we do motorsports media your way, talking about NASCAR's our bread and butter, but we also talk about IndyCar, Formula One, NHRA, iRacing, sim racing, everything, and of course the short track scene as well. So good to see you all as you tune in. Of course, you all know we're going to have Zach and Cam on the show. In just a few minutes, we'll bring Zach on in, and then we'll bring Cam in just a little bit. But just kind of diving into things a little bit. Of course, NASCAR was just at Iowa, and I'm curious of your guys' opinions on the race. I personally was a little frustrated by the product that we saw, and then we'll talk a little bit more about NASCAR later, as there's been a lot of news coming out, but I'm curious in the comments. Put your opinions on Iowa, any NASCAR news, any topics you want to discuss revolving around motorsports in general. Just use the hashtag AskATYL. We'll break those down in the middle of the show to get you all in on the conversation. Just as a reminder, they're on the screen for you here. But we love to see it. It's been a busy few weeks of racing, busy few weeks of motorsports, period, across the board. Of course, IndyCar had back-to-back races as they gear up for their finale at Nashville Super Speedway at the end of this month. I cannot believe their season is already over, and basically the championship fight is already over too. We know that Alex Palou basically has the deal sealed at this point. However, we're still kind of waiting it out. So we will see lots of exciting action coming up. And then, of course, for NASCAR, 3 races left before the playoffs start. Can you believe it? We're already at that time. NBC is back with their program and stuff. Of course, Watkins Glen up on the schedule, and a lot has changed with Watkins Glen across the board for all 3 national series. It's going to be chaotic. I'm excited for the chaos this weekend. I'm a little nervous, not going to lie. I'm nervous for what we're going to get. Of course, Connor Zilic, in case you missed it, running all 3 series this weekend. And of course, that's a development that we'll talk about later in the show. Yes, something to talk about just real quick. Stewart Friesen, let's talk about that. So Stewart Friesen, of course, injured in a really gnarly dirt modified incident. And luckily, the safety crew and all the doctors and everything like that were really good. And Stewart's been keeping his spirits high. His family's been with him. And today we got the news that he is home. It's a long road to recovery. But I don't know if you saw Stewart Friesen's wife was able to post a video of one of their kids hugging Stewart essentially and saying hi to dad. So that was lovely to see that he is on the mend. Again, a little bit of time for recovery here, but great to see that the surgery went okay and he is on his way to recover. So love to see that. Good news today, of course. And again, of course, we'll talk later in the show about news related to that. Who's going to be in the truck the rest of this Truck Series season for Stewart Friesen? How is this all going to work? Point situation, playoff situation. Lots of questions with the NASCAR rulebook too regarding the playoffs with certain drivers out of certain places. What does that look like? There is so much to dive into. We'll get to that in the middle of the show. But now let's have our guest segment. First of 2 here. Good to see you in the chat, by the way, John. So the Cookout Summer Shootout. I told you all about this. I got to experience it finally after years of hearing about the shootout. I think back in June. And it is one of the most fun events that Charlotte Motor Speedway puts on. You get to see all of these up-and-coming racers and some veterans take their turn around the track. It is so much fun. Legend Cars, Bandoleros. And as I was debating whether I go to the Summer Shootout or not on certain days, I ended up going to Caraway to see a Cars Tour race. So here's some backstory, you guys. Here's some backstory. I went to a Cars Tour race to Shadow to be a pit reporter, which is kind of cool. And as I was kind of learning the ropes, I met 2 drivers while I was there. 2 that I'd actually followed on social media for quite some time. And I'm like, you have to have you guys on the show. It's been too long. We have to have you on the show. So first up, we're going to bring in Zach Mertes to the show. I'm very excited to talk with him. There's some things we have in common. I'm very excited to talk with him about those things, kind of pick his brain a little bit on his career, where he's headed with his career, of course, talk with him a little bit about the Summer Shootout as well, goals, etc. So I've done enough talking, you guys. It's time to bring in Zach. Let's see.
How's it
Hello.
going?
Good, how are
could
you?
be a little bit better. I get home and for some reason my power's out, so I had to set this up quick on my phone.
Incredible. Oh, we love that. Technology always works when it's supposed to, sometimes, and sometimes when it's not. So
It gets a little interesting. We'll call it that. I don't know if you can hear me okay. I got home, my power was out. For some reason, it's weird though. Half of my apartment has power and the other half does not, and that half has my computer in it. So we're working with what we got. I just got off of work. I ran home. I was trying to make sure everything was all good to go.
Hey, that's okay. We appreciate you being here. I am so prone to technical difficulties on my end of things, but I'm glad you're here regardless. Very excited to talk with you. And something I just wanted to jump right into. We have something in common. Now, I haven't seen the Speed Racer show. I've seen like maybe one or two episodes. I love the movie, but apparently Speed Racer is pretty instrumental to your love of racing.
Oh
Is this
yeah,
correct?
no. So the crazy thing is that a lot of times when you talk to race car drivers, they're going to tell you, I watched the 2008 Speed Racer movie, fell in love with it, or they grew up on cars and whatnot. I grew up on the original anime, the 1967 anime that initially what got Speed Racer started in the United States of America. So Speed Racer was one of the first animes brought over from Japan and made for a Western dub. And it really shows. There's a lot of overlapping. There are certain instances where the voice the voice actors don't really line up with what they're saying, and it creates a lot of disconnect, we'll say. But it kickstarted a lot of things with Western anime, and it brought over newer styles, newer fame things, whatever you can call it. I mean, to be perfectly honest, a lot of people who watch anime, you would not have Dragon Ball Z if you did not have Speed Racer first. It created the big kickstart here in the
Nice.
United States, and I always grew up watching Speed Racer, driving the Mach 5, and it hit with me. It connected. My parents would go out on date nights, and they would go to Cracker Barrel when I used to live in Pennsylvania, and they would bring home the Speed Racer DVDs when they got released on DVD back in the early 2000s. And I just grew up watching that. I grew up watching Speed Racer: The Next Generation, which aired on Nickelodeon for a short time. And there was just so much that really hit with me about being a race car driver that also is apparently some sort of super spy. Like he gets roped into all of these weird spy antics with his older brother who ran away from home years ago that they never ever let you forget about. But it really just hit
Right.
with me. And the Mach 5 is an instrumental car. It's a very pop culture car. It's huge in pop culture. So you can't go anywhere without seeing it. And I'm sure you could ask my dad, who I think is watching right now. I was absolutely crazy when they announced the new Speed Racer comics this year, and I very, very much needed to go get myself the Speed Racer comics. So I'm waiting for that line to keep coming out because it really helps with keeping my motivation up for my racing career.
It is such a good series, and, like, for me, like, the movie, like, the last scene of the movie was just so good to me, but the story's so good, the characters are so good. I actually have a little Mach 5 here. I've got mine, so keep it above my desk all the time. So very, very cool. No, I saw that you love Speed Racer. I'm like, we gotta talk about it. And I think what's cool too, everyone kind of has a love of racing, and it kind of is rooted somewhere. A lot of times with our generation, it's through media. And when drivers start their careers, everyone kind of starts at a different point. And for you, that was box racing, and I thought that was so unique because I don't think I've seen or talked to another driver that had that as kind of where their career started. So do you mind talking through, like, how you
No,
found
yeah, no.
soapbox racing?
So when I used to live in Pennsylvania, I was born and raised in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. So the big thing they only really have there is Little League World Series when it comes around. And I am constantly readjusting my camera. I love using my phone, but not when I do stuff like this. It feels unprofessional, but like I got to do what I got to do at some point. So when
You're
we
good.
my parents and I were walking around at one of the local fairs that was going on at the time, and they were talking about bringing back the Williamsport Soapbox Derby. And I saw it. I looked at my mom and my dad, and I'm like, please let me do it. Please, 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 please let me do it. Please, for the love of God, please let me do it. And I don't remember exactly how it happened, but somehow I convinced them to let me do it. And I did it for 3 years. I poured as much blood, sweat, and tears as I could into that when I was 8 years old. Or no, I did it when I was 9, when I was 10, and when I was 11. I did it for 3 years, and I really just kind of threw myself into it. I didn't know how to work on a car. They would have us come in and build the kits. They were all supplied. It was mainly it was kind of free for the most part. You really didn't have to pay that much to do it. And I would come in each year. I got my brother to do it. I got a bunch of my cousins on my dad's side of the family to do it. I think one of my cousins is actually a state champion too. So she got to go to Akron,
Oh,
Ohio. She
wow.
got to do all that stuff. I almost got to go one year, which is kind of where the attrition story comes in when it comes to my racing career. So I woke up one morning and I was really, really sick. So I had been fighting off a really bad cold. And, I was 9 at the time. Actually, I was 10. It was my second year. And I wanted to race, but I didn't want to get stuck at home. So my mom, being the saint that she is, decided that she wasn't going to tell my dad that I was sick. She pumped me full of medication, which got me through most of the day. It was up until about my last run that I had, where I pretty much kind of let the cold take over, and I was holding my line as much as I could, and I somehow drifted over and I knocked all the cones down, sent me into the elimination bracket, and I got eliminated from there. So I ended up finishing, I think,
Oh.
7th out of everyone, which sucks because I was doing really good. I thought I could have made it, but cold took me out of it. But like when it comes to racing, it doesn't matter what it is. I don't care what I'm doing. I'm gonna do whatever I can to be at the track.
Yeah, I think a big part of being a race car driver and being in this industry period is that level of determination, commitment. And something that struck me too is like your commitment to kind of rising up the ranks. And you even said, I think, like you gave me some notes too about like you took out a loan to get yourself a legend car. Like that's a level of commitment that you don't see often in that sense. But I mean, it's incredible. I mean, just to follow
Absolutely,
that dream, right?
it's difficult for me. So it's hard to kind of get into that sort of topic without somehow trying to offend somebody, and I don't really want to do that because it's incredibly hard to make it in this sport. They say golfing is a rich man's sport, but they've never seen a repair bill for a race car, I can guarantee you. So it's
Yeah.
difficult to get into a topic like that because the hard part and the real truth is if you don't have triple digits or quadruple or centuple digits in your bank account, you are not making it in this sport. And it's incredibly difficult to
Mhm.
say something like that because I don't want to crush a little guy's dream because I'm that little guy. I try immensely hard to do these things. I took out a loan to get my legend car. I refinanced my loan this year so I could run the summer shootout, which didn't exactly turn out in my favor, all things considered. And now I'm medically sidelined out of a race car. So it's it's hard to do these things because you take out all of this money and then you wreck the car. You don't have the money to fix the car. And a lot of people are going to tell you it's a really stupid decision to do that. Well, it's hard for me to do something like that. I don't have the sponsor help. I don't have the financial help from a lot of people. It creates a situation that I really just have to dig myself out of, and I have to push through this, and I have to try to find a way to make it happen. And I have goals and things that I want to do. I mean, I wanted to run the summer shootout and take a little bit of time, build up some finances, and go and run a late model, make my first start because it's so hard to just find that sort of money to be able to do these things. The further up the ladder you go, the more money you have to spend. And a lot of people have been telling me just
Mhm.
stay in a legend car. It's affordable for what it is. Obviously, racing is always expensive, but being in a legend car is somewhat affordable. And it keeps you in the limelight, keeps you in the spotlight, and it's just hard for me to do that because just money. It's what it takes to be in that car, and I run in a car that doesn't necessarily have the same equipment that everybody else has. I mean, I've had the same rear gear in my car for 4 years now. I just got upgraded shocks
Oh, wow.
this year that I now have to rebuy because I destroyed them all when I got put into the wall off of turn number 2 at the summer shootout. So it creates a situation for me that I just have to find a way to get out of that. And I'm going to do whatever I can. I'm going to find whatever funding I can to be able to do it. I have to be able to give myself some sort of, I guess, reprieve right now, which is really hard for me to say because I hate
Mhm.
spending time out of a race car. The last time I was in competitive equipment was the 2024 Earnhardt Outdoor Showdown. They had a really cool exhibition with Earnhardt Outdoor. Kerry Earnhardt gave us all some really cool stuff when we got to go there, but Noah Gragson was there. Lawless Allen was there. Daniel Hemrick was there. And I went out in that first practice session and I topped the board, which is insane for me because I just outpaced a couple of NASCAR drivers. I just showed that I do
Yeah.
have pace when I know I can be in competitive equipment. And if I have that chance, then I want to be able to pretty much grab it, hold on to it, and take it for all it's worth. I will drive myself as far into debt as I have to be able to get into a race car, which is a really stupid thing to say. It's so stupid to say, especially when I deal with a lot of things that a lot of race car drivers don't have to deal with. I live on my own. I pay for a lot of my own things. I have a lot of bills that I have to take care of, car payments and whatnot. I have a cat that I have to take care of. I have all of these different things, normal life things that a lot of race car drivers don't really have to deal with because they've just kind of got it all handled for them. They have it all taken care of. They have the finances to be able to do it. I don't. So if I can be able to do things and still have the funding to be able to do it, I'm going to do it. But if I have to drive myself into debt, I'll do as much as I can. There's no being completely financially set when it comes to being in a race car. You just have to go out there and you got to do it.
And I think the big point that you kind of brought up for me was just it's a lot of this industry is betting on yourself. Not just like financially, I guess, with putting the financial into it, but it's having that confidence in yourself that you can do it. And part of that confidence too is being able to adapt. Like you said, unfortunately, I know the summer shootout did not go the way you wanted it to. I wanted to ask you, as you're kind of recovering from that, are you doing better? One and two, how do you kind of calm yourself down from the I gotta be in the race car right now, but giving yourself the time to heal?
it's that's a double-edged sword, to be perfectly honest with that question. So the the hard part is that I've never really calmed down from being out of the race car. I mean, it's hard to just sit out and be on the sideline when it's your dream. It's what you want to do. It's when you want to go out there and you just want to do it. And and I've heard a couple of remarks off of what happened with the shootout. I have my fair share of haters, obviously, as do all race car drivers. So, I've seen a lot of people coming at me about just how I act in the garage and how I act when I'm at the racetrack. And, to that I say, to each their own. I mean, the second I got out of that race car, I walked over. You can't necessarily see it, but the onboard footage is on my YouTube channel. You can go to Zach Mertes on YouTube, and you can find me on there. And the most recent long form content video I have on there is the wreck from all angles, from the TV camera, from a fan cam, from my onboard camera, and you can see I get out of my car and I step to the side, and you can see it on the Flow Racing broadcast. I gave a thumbs up to the fans, let them know I'm okay, because I have that support, and you want to be able to show those fans that their support is valued for what you're doing. It's one of the big things that I bring in my racing career is that I try to give those fans the experience on the other side of the fence that they want to experience being in the garage, because the casual fan just kind of falls back to money. They don't necessarily always have the money, especially with the economy right now. It's hard to find some sort of money to be able to go out and do these fun things. And when they go do these fun things, they want to meet their
Right.
favorite drivers. I mean, you go to the summer shootout, Scott McLaughlin, Shane Van Gisbergen, Kyle Busch, Bubba Wallace, even other drivers were there that weren't even competing. Ross Chastain, Noah Gragson. There were drivers there that people love to interact with. They want to get their autographs. They want to see them. But sometimes those drivers don't come up into the stands. So I try to take that and walk over to the other side of the stands, give them that experience from the other side of the fence that they can't necessarily get on the daily, week, or weekly basis. It's hard for that. And, circling back to how I'm feeling about, being okay and being out of the race car physically, I'm doing physical therapy. I'm consulting with my doctor. Hopefully I'll have a better update in, say, the next month or so on when I'll be back in a race car. Obviously my back still hurts, and, driver safety is paramount nowadays. And if my back's still hurting, I can't get back in a race car. So I have to do what I have to do to be out of the race car right now and stay healthy so I can do this for a long time. And, just mentally being out of the race car, it's hard because it's my dream. It's what I want to
Yeah.
do. It's what I want to see myself doing the rest of my life. And, when I've got a lot of people surrounding me that want to see me do great, and a lot of people that want to see me have a downfall, you just kind of have to shut out the noise and go for it. And, it's a weird thing to say, but sometimes I like to say I have the moral compass of a superhero, because I like to go out there and I like to just pursue my dreams. And a lot of people just say, be realistic. And a lot of times I think back to about a quote said in a Superman movie that came out. It was back in 2012. I think it was Superman versus the Elite. And it was, Superman saying, dreams save us. They elevate us. They separate us from reality. It's a quote, something along those lines, but it resonates a lot with me. And a lot of times when I hear people say, be realistic, I think, okay, you're just telling me to just shoot my dreams down or something like that. It's being realistic is pretty much where dreams go to die, in my opinion, because if I don't stay focused on this dream, then I've already lost. I'm already done. I'm out, and it's never going to happen. And if I have to stay committed, 100%. So when I'm out of the race car, my mentality is I have to get back in the race car. I have to find a way to do this. I have to find a way to be there, and I have to find a way to keep this done. And it's hard for me to be able to have that mentality because, and I'm assuming we're going to wrap up here, so I'm trying to keep this quick, but, I've dealt with situations that a lot of race car drivers have never had to deal with. I've been homeless 4 times. It's hard to stay afloat sometimes. And, growing up, my parents weren't always the best with money. And, you may get a different couple of reasons from either one of my parents on that one, but it was hard to keep money. And we ended up having situations. Obviously, we got to have help from other family members, but we did end up homeless a couple of times. One of them was actually from a fire. And, there were times where I didn't know where my next meal was going to come from. I didn't know what was going to end up happening. And I needed to make sure that things were moving in the right direction. I had to somewhat steer the moral compass of my family. And that's I'm probably going to get a phone call from my dad or my mom about that. It's going to be like, what are you talking about? But, I see things differently than other people do. I look at problems and I look at solutions and I try to figure them out from a different standpoint and outside of the box look. And, coming from that perspective, it makes me treat racing with just a whole different perspective because I don't know when the next time I'm going to be in a race car. I don't know if this is going to be my last time. So I'm just going to go out there and I'm going to put it on the line for all it's worth. And, if I wreck the car, I guess I'm going home. But it's the risks you have to take with yourself. And I want to see myself in a Cup Series car sometime soon.
That was the next question I was going to ask you. Obviously, I'm a realist at heart, but I love the quote that you shared where it's like, dreams propel us. Like for me, that was the case for me. Started with the podcast, that was kind of a dream, and now I have a career from it. Like if you don't dream, you're not going to grow, is my thought process. So I kind of like that thought process from you as well. And obviously, kind of the goal someday is to be in a Cup car. From I guess my question with that too is, did you have a driver like growing up that you looked up to and someone that like kind of you aspire to
Oh,
be as a driver
absolutely.
yourself?
Growing up, I always looked up to Jeff Gordon, and that kind of steers my direction on where I want to go with my career. I mean, I want to drive for Hendrick Motorsports, one of the best teams in the NASCAR Cup Series right now. They have the most championships out of any team, most winningest team in the series. Obviously, Jeff Gordon has taken over an ownership role at Hendrick Motorsports as well. So it would just be monumental for me to be able to drive for my childhood hero. And, it makes even more sense because Jeff Gordon was a Speed Racer fan himself. So, it kind of helps out a little bit. He even had a Jeff Gordon Foundation Speed Racer car. I've been looking for that diecast for a long time. I've really wanted to get it at some point. If I can find it, I'm going to try to get it. But, obviously the bills have to come first. But it's definitely what I want to do. And I want to see myself driving for Mr. Hendrick, for Jeff Gordon, and competing in the NASCAR Cup Series on a level like that. And I know it takes a lot. I know it takes a sponsorship to get there. But, it circles back. The dreams propel us. They keep us moving in the direction we want to go. And, regardless of who you believe in, who you believe to run a country, who you believe in for your religion, regardless of everything else going on in the world, if you have a dream, you've got to go chase it. And you may see signs that say they want to point you in a different direction. Depending on what you believe in, that could also be a test of strength on keeping you committed to your goals. Mm-hmm. So I've always just been a big advocate for whatever you believe in, always believe in your dream as well. Never forget it. Never forget where you came from and how you got here. Always keep that in the back of your mind.
1000%. I was just going to preach it like 100%. Follow those dreams, chase those dreams. And Zach, I'm looking forward to when you're able to get back in the car, continuing to chase those dreams, even off the track too. But Zach, where can people find you on socials?
So you can find me at Zach Mertes on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and TikTok. I've been rapidly growing my social media following, trying to propel myself a little bit more, show these sponsors how marketable I can be. I think we went from just a couple hundred subscribers on YouTube to pushing 30K in the last 7 to 8 months. So we've been growing. We've been growing rapidly. Nice. and we're expanding. And there's so much marketability right now and just being able to promote your brand right now. And you can always find me wherever. You can also find me on Discord. If you go onto my YouTube channel, I have a Discord server that I let all my fans join in. They can interact with me wherever they choose to. And, my DMs are always open on Instagram. I always try to keep it 100% real with the fans. So wherever you want to reach me, wherever you want to talk to me, absolutely come talk to me. I will love to talk to you. I would love to interact with you. If you have any questions for me, I'm always 100% open. And, there's always so many people I want to thank to be able to do this, to be able to support this. First and foremost, I got to thank my mom and my dad for always supporting me, whether it be emotionally, financially, helping me out in certain ways. I always got to thank my brother as well. I love my brother. I love him to death. He lives in Delaware now, so I can't go bug him. But, it's always fun to have family coming to the racetrack as well. I have a lot of friends. My one friend, Isaiah Taylor, Catherine Pickle, Michael Eckhart, Joshua Parent, all my close friends that keep me pushing in the right direction. I always love being able to talk to my friends and have them in my corner. And, a lot of them are really special to me, and I always want to make sure that I'm there for them when they're there for me as well. So if you want to find me, though, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Discord, everywhere. I am everywhere, and I am always ready to support whoever wants to support me.
Awesome. Well, make sure to check them out. Also, by the way, your vlogs that you do on YouTube
Thank
are so
you.
great.
I
By the
work
way,
really hard on
they're
them
incredible.
for
You're
the
welcome.
production value that I have.
I was gonna say they look great. They look great. I've loved watching them. So everyone, make sure to check out Zach on all social platforms. Zach, wishing you the best. Hopefully, I run into you at the track
Hopefully my
here
power
soon.
comes back on
Thanks so
soon.
much for
I
joining
feel
us.
like I'm just like
Your
looking
fingers
way
crossed.
more dark, and it's harder to see me as the sun sets.
It's all good. No, we appreciate you tuning in. Hopefully, fingers crossed that power comes back on. Thanks, Zach.
Glad to be here.
Thanks so much. Awesome. That was Zach Mertes. Again, make sure to follow him on social media. You might have seen him post about the show tonight in a collaboration with our post on social, so make sure to find him there. Of course, I have to give a shout out real quick. Again, horrible segue. You all know me. I suck at segues. But I have to give a shout out to NASCAR.shop here. Talking about partners, people that make it happen. NASCAR.shop is a major partner of us here at ATYL Media and above the line specifically. And this weekend, they're doing a break. Now, this is the first time I've participated in a break for a NASCAR anything. And I am so excited about that. I've put in my spots for, I think, Casey Kane, Justin Bonsignor, oh my gosh, who else? Carl Edwards, and of course, Terry Labonte. You all know me. I love Terry Labonte. So I put in my spots for those cards. So fingers crossed we get a hit here. But of course, go to NASCAR.shop or scan the QR code on the screen here to get your spot for the break. The break happens at 1 p.m. Eastern time this Saturday. The spots close an hour before the break, so make sure that you get your spots. And if you are a NASCAR trading card fanatic, this is the place for you. And of course, on top of that, if you use the promo code ATYO, you get 15% off your first card purchase. I use my own code for this spot. I'm not going to lie to you. I got a pretty good deal. What's also great about NASCAR.shop as well is they have a no hit policy, essentially meaning that if there is a break and your driver does not appear in that, that's okay. You'll get a refund on your shipping, so it's easier for you to take part in the next break. Breaks are bi-weekly on NASCAR.shop, but this is all just kind of jumbled a little bit. Just go to NASCAR.shop/ATYL and you can learn all about the breaks, all about what they're selling at NASCAR.shop and everything else. I want to thank Dan for all of his support with our platform and, of course, NASCAR.shop for all that they do. But then again, scan the QR code. You all already know what to do. Also linked in our description too. And I will see you guys during the break this Saturday. Very excited about it. I'm like, again, keeping my fingers crossed that I get some driver that I put in a spot for. So fingers crossed there. The other thing to note too, by the way, you guys, Benzik Designs. You all know I love my diecast. We know this. This is a given. This is in the Taylor lore. And Benzik Designs has incredible 3D printed diecast stands, 4-tier, 3-tiered, whatever tier you've got it. He also has stands for IndyCar, I guess F1 diecast. There is so much that you can have with your cars with Benzik Designs 3D printed stands. For me, I have what I think like plus 60, about 70 cars up here right now, and that wouldn't be possible without these stands. So make sure to go to Benzik Designs on Etsy or scan the QR code and use the promo code ATYL2025 and you'll get 20% off your entire order. I know there are some that I've just been like, I'll take the plunge and I'll buy one stand. And they do. And then they're like, oh my gosh, I need to buy like 5 more. And you guys just go and buy 5 more. We've seen the support from you all. I appreciate it so much. Full transparency, I get nothing from the percentage. For just full transparency, I want to give you all a very good deal. So again, support Matt, my good friend Matt, support Benzik Designs, and get those die-cast stands. They're awesome. I will say too, he also made the above the line stand up here that I had behind me, which is lovely. So Anywho, just wanted to let you all know some of those deals from our fantastic partners that are here on the ATYL Media channel, but we'll move on. We have so much more to talk about with our next guest. I know a lot of you guys were really excited to see Cam joining our show. Sean and Tyler are very excited to have him chat with us. Again, another summer shootout driver, cookout summer shootout driver. Couldn't forget the cookout part of this. But Cam, I've been following his journey for a little bit. We followed each other on social media. He is on it. Anything social media related, he is there. Anything racing related, he is there. Awesome to see him have some success in the summer shootout as well. I was actually there one of the nights that he won. He was stoked. I'm so excited to talk to this kid. So let's bring in Killa Cam Truett.
Hey, how are you?
Hello.
I'm doing good.
How are you? Good. Oh, awesome to see. This is the collab of the century. It's finally time.
No, we talked about it at Caraway for a while. You know, I had a lot of fun. So.
Yeah, I'm so excited that you are here. And I mean, let's just dive right into it. Summer shootout, big success there, back-to-back wins, round 7, round 8. For you, what was more fun, that round 7 win or the round 8 win? Was that one in the rain?
So round 8 was in the rain, and the rain's like, okay. I'm going to be so honest with you. I like the rain more than I like the dry. So, you know, I have a lot of fun out there in the rain, just sliding it like a dirt late model kind of. And, you know, it's super fun because it's just something different and that some people have an advantage on that other people don't. And, you know, it's super fun in the rain, but I really like the rain more because, like, yeah, I like the speech and all. I had a really fun time with that. But I feel like the rain was, like, the fun. It's just so fun.
I like when you can kind of test the car limits in the rain.
I went in the grass. Kind of like, I was catching the leader. I got in the grass. And I was like, oh, and I like throttled up in the grass just to get the car to turn. And I was like, oh, there we go.
No, it's rain racing. I can't believe, I mean, I can't imagine how fun it is behind the wheel. It's fun to watch. That was pretty cool to see your success there. I mean, I got to ask too, because I don't know. I don't think I know the backstory. How did you get started in racing? What was that spark for you?
I started out in a go-kart. So it's like a red plate go-kart, nothing too fast, just a beginner thing. So it's like a flat cart. And so we did about 3 races, and then we went and ran Daytona, like the big Daytona stuff.
Okay.
So we qualified like dead last, okay? We make our way up through the field. Last lap, leader gets dead sideways in front of me. I get around her, come into the checker, and I got it done at Daytona. So that was pretty cool. And,
nice.
And then I finished third the next day, and then I got like 5th. I mean, I was only like 7, so I was just starting out and just trying to learn. So, but it was definitely fun in karts. I actually want to hop back in one because, you know, like everything's like once you get out of a car, you realize how fun they are and how bad you want to hop back in one. So.
Yeah, and I can't imagine too winning at Daytona. Like that's pretty neat.
Actually, they have these like they're kind of like Formula V's, but like they're a lot faster.
Mm-hmm.
During the kart race, one was like running the top. He got loose, overcorrected, flipped into the catch fence, and it was smoke and fire everywhere right in front of the kart track.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was just sitting there watching the race.
That's Daytona for you. Oh my gosh.
And then I see a car flying to the catch fence. I'm like, oh, my God. But, you know, it's definitely a big surprise. So as most people know, I did run bandos for a little bit. I did about 3 years. So this is my 4th year racing overall. You know, the first year we ran bandos, we kind of just ran a bunch of Florence, and we ran the shootout. We were okay. You know, we weren't as best. But, you know, because it's our first year. It's our learning year. We were kind of adapting to the car still. And just figuring out, like, do I lift here? Do I gas here? All the wheel input, everything like that. My 2nd year, we were running top 3 every week. And then, you know, we struggled a little bit at national events, but then we really figured it out. And then we kind of picked it up. And then we kind of got in it. And then we started getting a lot faster. And then so my 3rd year, my favorite year, okay, I won 18 races that year out of the 40 races I did. So we won at Charlotte. Then we won a bunch of like Florence and Southern National races. And I really love it. I just love bandos are so fun. Like they're really like when you run like a rough track like Florence, they're really bumpy and you're kind of like hopping around the whole track. But it's like
Yeah.
it's just like when you get in the car, you just like it's like my dad. So he used to tell me to have tunnel vision. I got my new helmet. He has like this thing on the visor and it kind of like tunnels me in. He like put a sticker on there, kind of
Interesting.
tunnels
Okay.
me in. So it's really nice. And it's just I sit in the car and I'm so locked in and just know what to do. And so it's
Yeah.
definitely a lot of fun in a bando. But I wanted to move up to a legend so bad. I was like, Dad, when can I get a legend? Dad, when I can get a legend? When I can get a legend? Hey, Dad, when are we getting a legend? So I asked him a lot, and we probably weren't ready for it, but we would kind of win everywhere we went in the bando, and I wanted to improve as a driver. So we went ahead and moved up, and we tested like 8 times during the winter. And then we ran winter nationals with Joe, which was really fun because that was just me starting, and I finished 6th one day out of 20 cars. So I mean, I was super happy about that. And then we raced all the other national events. We weren't the greatest, but we were just learning still. So we ran Shootout. We did really good. We did pretty good at the start. We were kind of rough. We were just trying to pick up the lap times and figure it out. And then by about, I would say, round 5 and 6, we started picking up the pace a little, running top 5, and then we ran 7 and 8, which we got 2 in a row, which I was super excited about that. It's one of my my biggest memory in racing. So definitely a lot of fun out there and just having fun.
And for somebody who has not been behind the wheel of a bando or a legend car, what's the difference for you as a driver between those two in terms of like drivability and feel of those cars?
So the bandos, they only have rear shocks, so they don't have any front suspension. So when you go through a corner, when you turn in, or if it's like a bumpy track, let's say Florence, you go through turn 1.
Okay.
Bouncing everywhere. Like it's not like Charlotte where you have to crank the wheel and it goes. It's more like at Florence, there's bad bumps there and you go through there and you're just bouncing everywhere because there's no front suspension at all. And then like the legend, you can kind of sit down in the car and you won't have any problem with bumps. Like I haven't raced Hickory, but I've heard Hickory's really bad about the bumps. So
yeah. Yep. It'd be a fun one to race, but I have heard the bumps there are a little wild. So, my goodness. Well, I mean, it looked like the summer shootout was a lot of fun. I got to see you do a vlog with like Bubba Wallace and like get to talk with like SVG and all of them. So, like, how was that aspect of the summer shootout for you? Like being able to interact with some of those drivers?
To be honest, like at the start of the shootout, I was like, do I go talk to them? They're like big people, so cool. And by then I was like, oh, they're just my best friends now. Pretty much, really. I'm gonna be so honest.
I love that.
I've really got close with Bubba, SVG, and Scott. So they're definitely really nice guys, and I have a lot of fun with them.
And I've got to imagine too, like maybe even like trying to like learn from them a little bit as well. Like, did you get any pointers, advice from them along the way, or was it truly just like having fun, vlogging and stuff?
I would go. So like when I get out my car, we go walk up in turn 3 and we watch just what's like going on and try to learn from like the class pros, which Bubba, Scott, and SVG are in. So we try to go there and learn, and like just kind of watch them. Where do you turn in? How are their braking points? Where do they lift, brake? Just all the aspect, the craft. And then when we go in, I kind of tell them good job. They don't really give me pointers. I might watch someone's GoPro or something, but we don't really study together. But they do like SVG in the rain. I saw it was raining. I walked my butt right over to SVG and I said, What do I need to do in the rain? Got any pointers? And he gave me some tips, and that was actually the day I picked up 2 in a row. So I was super excited about that.
Nice. There you go. There you go. That's awesome. No, it's been cool to see your success there too. And I think as well, it's been cool to see your success on social media too. Just the visibility you're giving to your partners at your age. I don't think any other driver out there at your age is doing what you're doing. So I guess my first question with that is, how did you get so good at social media? Was it just a thing that came naturally to you, or did it take some coaching along the
I
way?
came out the womb like this.
You're like, this is me.
Like, I was like,
All easy.
as soon as I turned 4, I was not scared of the camera. No way. Like, I had this really good Mickey Mouse voice when I was like 3. I wouldn't do it. And then so Dad was like, kept on bugging me about it. And I was like, you know what? Just get it over with. And I did it. And then we were laughing it off. It was pretty funny. And then so I actually think I still got the voice. I don't really know, but.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I mean, there's something to be said though, where it's like, if you are not afraid to be in front of the camera, I guess like sky's the limit in terms of just like partnerships, stories you can tell, etc. Because I think a lot of kids, even to like me, when I first started podcasting, like I was like, what are people gonna think? Like how do you get rid of that thought process of like, I'm so worried what people are gonna think about me, etc. and just be you?
I mean,
right?
I really don't listen to it. Like, I go to school and like kids like follow my TikTok and whatever, and they'll just like give me crap about it, take random screenshots of me in my middle of my thing, and I was like, dude, just go. And, I mean, I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, they can like, I want to make it big someday, and if they can say something if they want, but it's not gonna bother me. Like, they're like, for example, on my flow post, the one I did, the IP Excellence, there were so many people.
Yeah.
Like, there's like a bunch of grown men with some Kyle Larson clown as their profile picture, and I'm like, they're hating on me, saying, "What a screw off," and all this and that. I'm like, okay, just it's whatever. I don't really listen to it. I actually like to listen to them before a race, and I was like, let's just go prove them wrong.
Yeah. No, it's good to either block out the haters and or use that as motivation to kind of carry on. And my question for you too is, after the summer shootout, what does the rest of your year look like? What other things are you involved in? Even too, if it's still legend cars.
So we'll just be running legend cars for the rest of the season, but our next race is the Southern Showdown at Florence Motor Speedway. And
nice.
As you see right here, that's the car we will be running at Florence. We'll be running our Sonic cars. So, we have our own Killer Cam slushie coming out soon, so make sure to go grab you one of those. It's a blue raspberry and lemonade flavor with nerds. Make sure to go try it out. I actually told my mom to go get it today because that's my mom, Caitlin Renee, right there in the chat. And I told her to go. Her and my little sister went and grabbed one today. So she was like, that's the best slushie ever. So they went and grabbed it today. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, now I have to go to Sonic and grab one too, because that sounds really, really good. Oh my gosh. Well, what is it like for you too, like having those big sponsorships? I'm going to say at your age, but more so just in general, where you're at in your career, like having Sonic, having like Circle K. What has it been like to work with these bigger brands?
So, as Zachary was saying earlier, I really don't have the pocket to go run 50, 60 races a year and go run a late model, go do supers, all this and that. So every day after school, my dad has a spare office at his shop, and I go in there, I get the phone. Hey, my name's Killer Cam Truett. I'm 11 years old. My dream's to be a NASCAR driver. I make proposals over and over and over. I've made over 100 proposals this year, and maybe about 6 or 7 of them has said yes. So,
Yeah, I think that's the part that I don't think people realize, and I'm so glad you brought that up, is a lot of the sponsorship work and a lot of it at this stage in your career is the cold calling, cold emails. For every 100, like you said, you might only get 6 yeses. But when you find those yeses, like Sonic, like Circle K, you can form really cool partnerships. And with your social media, that's an added bonus for these
Yeah,
partners,
you
right?
know, I love doing my social media stuff. Like I literally asked Dad, "Hey, when can we do social media?" I love it. I have so much fun doing it.
Now, when you're at the track, like, do you have certain times where you have your phone on and then you're like, okay, after an hour on my phone at the track, like it's all racing focus. I'm curious for you, what's your kind of goal
Yeah,
with
I mean,
that?
I know a lot of people will like just leave their phone somewhere for race day. Like I like to keep it out so like my
Yeah,
dad knows where I am and I can go record YouTube stuff, do reels and
smart.
stuff like that. And so I can just look at race monitor, look at times, do all that stuff.
Mhm. And just kind of even talking about social media and your reach, something really cool that I saw someone come across your page was the Sports Illustrated Youth Athlete of the Year. Do you mind talking a little bit more about that? Because that's
So
incredible.
we've been really representing the youth athlete of the year, and we're currently first in our group right now. So our next group starts in I think like 2 days. Check that for me if I'm
Oh, wow.
wrong.
Okay.
But so it's in 2 days. I'm pretty sure the next round is. So we're in first right now. So we're pretty much 100% gonna advance. So I'm super excited. So we all know it's gonna happen. I'm gonna be youth athlete of the year. So I'm super excited about it.
So, what happens if you're named Athlete of the Year?
I'm speechless. I really don't know. I'm gonna be so I don't know really. I mean, I'll be super happy to have the $25,000 that's going straight to racing. But
Mhm.
it would definitely mean a lot.
And how can people vote for this?
So go to my Instagram, my Facebook, my TikTok, go to all of that. And you can do one vote a day or you can pay to do votes. So like you can each dollar is one vote, but the you can have one vote for free. So go vote on my Facebook, my TikTok, and my Instagram at Cam Truett. So go check it out.
Awesome, awesome. Well, Cam, last thing is where can people find you? I know you just mentioned your social media handles, but what are all the places where people can find you to keep
So we
following your
do a
racing
YouTube
journey?
vlog every week at the racetrack. Say we're at Florence, I do a little Florence vlog. We go all over the East Coast. Speaking of go all over the East Coast, we're actually going to the West Coast for Asphalt Nationals. So we're gonna go run
Nice.
Las Vegas for Asphalt Nationals. So I'm super excited for that. But let's get back to more of the social media stuff. So I got my Instagram, my Facebook, my TikTok, and pretty much everything I have is at Cam Truett. I was on LinkedIn, but I mean I'm too young, so I got banned. LinkedIn, allow my account back. I need it. Ban
Unban
me.
him.
But I have it's Threads. I'm pretty sure it is. That's it. Yeah, yeah. And then
Mhm.
that's pretty much all I know. That's like, and I have a website. Go to www.killercamtruett.com and buy you a Heck Yeah T-shirt today. And or you can have one of these fresh Killer Cam hats right here. That looks really nice.
Nice. I was gonna say that's sick. That's
But
good.
I really appreciate it for putting me on podcast. Do you think I can thank my sponsors real quick?
Oh,
So I want to
100% go
thank
for it.
Sonic. Make sure to go grab you Killer Cam slushy. I really want to thank Circle K. They got the second best slushies. I mean, they're pretty tight. They're pretty close. Just grab you a good old Polar Pop. And go to Paramount Auto Collision for any of your auto collision needs, and Black's Tire for any of your tire services needs. And then for any of your construction needs all over, go to Tungsten Corporation.
Awesome, awesome. Make sure to check out Cam's partners and check out all of Cam's social media platform. It was so lovely to have you on the show. Thank you
Yes,
so much
ma'am.
for
Thank you.
joining
I really
today.
appreciate it.
Thanks. Have a good
Will you
one.
just take me off or do I have to exit? Okay.
I got
Thank
you. I got you. Good to see ya. Awesome. Well, that was Cam Truett. Again, make sure to follow him on all social media platforms and also check out his partners. How cool is that? Like your very own slushie from Sonic. Like that's cool. I love that. So again, thank you to Zach and Cam for joining the show tonight for our summer shootout special, cookout summer shootout special, I should say. But now let's talk about some NASCAR topics. Any topic you want to talk about, any piece of news, let me know using the hashtag AskATYL because there's a lot of social media kind of topics, news-related things that we can break down right now. I know there was a lot of news. A lot of news came out this past week. So again, make sure to use the hashtag AskATYL. And as your questions are rolling in again, I want to highlight this. NASCAR.shop has a break happening this Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time that you want to be a part of. I've already got my spots for cards with drivers like what did I put in cards for? Casey Kane, my goodness, Carl Edwards, Terry Labonte, Justin Bonsignor, and I'm hoping that there is a hit. And what I love about NASCAR.shop is that if there's not a hit for one of your drivers, no worries. That gets refunded in your shipping cost, and it gets you store credit for the next time you want to buy spots for a break. So make sure to go check that out, NASCAR.shop, or scan the QR code on the screen to make sure you get your trading cards. Again, thanks to Dan at NASCAR.shop for his support. And of course, again, for all of your trading card stuff, don't go anywhere else, you guys. Go to NASCAR.shop for the best deals and use the code ATYL to get 15% off your first card purchase. Big deal there, you guys. Wonderful, wonderful. All right, let's talk some NASCAR news because I know y'all want to talk some NASCAR news, right? Ravaging Wolverine, good to see you in the chat as well. Good to see you, friend. You heard Connor Zilic has a big announcement coming up soon. Yeah, so this is something that I've been hearing is that Connor Zilic has some big news coming up soon. Now, the assumption of this news is that it is going to be about a future Cup ride. Now, we've seen the dominoes kind of fall into place here. The rumor at the start of the season was Daniel Suarez is not going to return to Trackhouse Racing. We get the news a few weeks ago that Daniel Suarez is in fact not returning to Trackhouse Racing. That leaves the 99 wide open. So it's who's going to fill that seat. Well, there's a guy in the Xfinity Series that's been winning quite a lot. He's a Trackhouse driver. That is Connor Zilic. So I think the big news that comes out could be this Cup Series ride. So we will have to see. If so, part of me hopes, I saw this on Twitter and I don't remember who posted this. So I hate to like steal the idea here, but giving credit to where credit is due. Somebody on Twitter said this is I would love for Zilic to take the 88 and for SVG to take the 97. Like I would love for them to do something different with the numbers here, just because I think now with Zilic, he's really made the 88 his own in the Xfinity Series, and it would be cool to kind of carry that forward. Just my thought, though. Just my thought. But we shall see. Yeah, it sounds most likely, John, that it will be potentially the Trackhouse Cup car. So we will see there if that's the case. But a good topic to bring up, Ravaging Wolverine. Let's talk more things. Austin Hill was granted his playoff waiver. This is something that was not surprising news. The question now is, what does this mean for playoff eligibility? Why does this even matter? Like, why give him the waiver at all? He was suspended, right? Well, the new NASCAR rule heading into the season with the playoff waivers is that you're granted a playoff waiver for those points specifically, let's say, if you are out for medical reasons. Now, if you're out because you junked somebody and you got suspended, you're going to be granted a playoff waiver. However, you do not get to keep your current playoff points or future playoff points, which will still allow Austin Hill to compete in the playoffs as he's now a playoff driver. He has been a playoff driver for quite some time, but he can't keep those points. So moving on to the next round in these playoffs is going to be a little bit more challenging. It will almost force him to have to win each round. Not entirely, but it's going to have to force the issue for him. I know people are like, well, why are we doing this anyways if we're just going to grant him a waiver so he can compete? That's a fair question. So I'm curious for you all, very curious for you, if you agree with that new rule. Do you like the fact that if you're suspended for anything on track, like what Austin Hill did, you should get that playoff waiver and you can still compete? Or are you in the mindset of a suspension's a suspension? You did something you shouldn't have done, and now your chance to fight for the championship is revoked. I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are on that, because it kind of sparked some debate online, not going to lie. Sparked some serious debate. Along with this, we'll move on and we'll come back to the Austin Hill conversation. Elton Sawyer said on Sirius XM NASCAR Radio Channel 90 that in 2026, they have an initiative brewing for a better short track package with more horsepower. He said, and I quote, "It's something that is an ongoing discussion with our industry stakeholders." I hate the word stakeholders because it's very corporate, but whatever. And it's something that is an ongoing, wait, I already read that. Hi, sorry. Okay, our folks at Toyota, Ford, and Chevy, as well as our engine builders and our race teams, I feel like we're having positive conversations. There is still a lot that goes into that. Obviously, it's a 2026 initiative to get that across the line. So we still continue to have very positive conversations about that. The other thing too here, Roush Yates Engines said that it's not impossible for them to move up to 750 HP. It's more doable for them. It's more doable for them to move up kind of in a small scale, not going up to like the 1000 HP that all of us are kind of wanting to see. But I guess we'll see. But just something to keep in mind too, as we continue to discuss the Gen 7 car, its flaws, and what's happening with it, we're at least seeing some steps in the right direction. There might be very small steps, baby steps, steps that are taking a little longer, but at least in 2026, moving in the right direction with the car itself. Now, the playoff format, that's a whole other discussion. My God. But Ravaging Wolverine, it sounds like the waiver is not guaranteed in every situation. It's up to NASCAR. Yeah, the waiver is in NASCAR's discretion for the most part, is the wording in the rule book. So it's going to be interesting to see. Now, obviously, again, the question for Austin Hill is good. Now, here's my thing. At the beginning of the season, if you guys watched my preseason prediction videos, I predicted 3 drivers would get suspended. Because last year it seemed to be crazy, and the year before we got 1 suspension. I don't know if we're going to get 3 this year. I don't really want 3. I don't want drivers to get suspended because I don't want crazy and dangerous stuff to happen on track. But at least there's 1 suspension. I'll give it that. Speaking of Connor Zilisch, we talked about him earlier in the show. He's pulling triple duty this weekend at Watkins Glen Truck Xfinity and Cup. Why truck? In case you missed it, for the Truck Series, Caden Honeycutt is no longer part of Nice Motorsports. That was some pretty crazy, unexpected news that came out just a few days ago. According to the team, Nice Motorsports, they said that Caden Honeycutt has signed a deal with another team and another OEM for the 2026 season. So they released him immediately so they could focus on the future of their team. And the future, I guess, for Watkins Glen at least, is having Connor Zilisch in the seat. And then for the rest of the season, is having Bailey Curry in the seat of that 45 Chevy Silverado. So very, very interesting news there. Now, the question is, why gut Caden Honeycutt from the team now when he's on track to win you guys a potential championship? Is he a championship caliber driver at this point compared to some of the others in the field? I think he could make a case for the championship 4. I really think he could, but now he won't have the chance to, at least with Nice Motorsports, because they took him away from the team, for lack of better words, I guess. So, all that said, though, Connor Zilisch is filling in for Caden Honeycutt for this race. And then the question is, what does Caden Honeycutt do? Well, he's found a ride with Young Motorsports for this weekend at Watkins Glen. And then, of course, for the remainder of the season, we talked about Stuart Friesen at the start of the show, getting the incredible update that he is now home, on the road to recovery, physical therapy, stuff like that. But after this race at Watkins Glen, Caden Honeycutt will race in Stuart Friesen's truck for the remainder of the season. Of course, that means that Caden Honeycutt can remain playoff eligible with him finding a ride for the rest of the season. So very good there. It's going to be very confusing, but very exciting. Hab, good to see you in the chat. So yes, we have that news there. Other news too, I don't know if we've seen the roster for NASCAR 25 for all series, ARCA, Truck, Xfinity, and Cup, but those are out. We have 57 drivers on the roster for ARCA, which is crazy. We talked about that last show. The Cup Series roster just came out, I believe it was yesterday. And I'm not going to lie, a little interested to see that Catherine Legge is not in the picture for this race, even though she's competed in, I believe, 5 Cup Series races so far this season. She's not listed in the game. Neither is BJ McLeod. So I'm very interested to see that. I do know that Live Fast had a deal or had a partnership with Motorsport Games. I don't know if there's a lingering contract there, even though Motorsport Games is just obsolete. So where they're not able to be in this new NASCAR game, that was the thought process that I had come to mind. Because otherwise, I don't understand why you wouldn't put Catherine in the game unless there's something with her contracts or something like that that just didn't make sense. Really have no clue here. That said, though, I hate to see that she was omitted from the game, but it is cool to see other drivers like Burt Myers in the game, which was pretty wild. On Racing America, on SI, there is a whole list of every driver involved in alphabetical order on the story here. It is a very long list of drivers. Nonetheless, very exciting, though. It was great to see our buddy Stephen Malazzi in this list too. Mason Maggio, some really good names. Really cool to see like Isaac Kitzmiller on this list for ARCA. You see some really cool drivers on this list, and I'm sure they're stoked about this. Brayton Laster, obviously a good friend of the show, is on this list too. Presley Sora, again, another friend of the show on this list for ARCA. A lot of good ARCA drivers getting some pretty good exposure here. Ooh, this is the question that needed to be asked. Now, NASCAR 25, PS5, Xbox, or PC for me. So my Mac will not support this. I need a PC. This has been the conversation for me since like, what, you guys? Since how long? Like 2 years? The past 2 years I've been like, I need a PC. But PS5 or Xbox. I do have both, but I prefer PlayStation games that I play with PlayStation. Therefore, I'm going to have to go with the PS5 for this game. I'm very excited about it. I do not like that there's not a dual screen for this, so you can play with somebody else like on that single console. I kind of don't love that. I think all games, especially motorsports games, are better when you can enjoy with your friends. And I think they're wanting to have you enjoy the game with your friends in an online capacity. So you have to buy like PlayStation Plus or Xbox like Live or whatever, which don't love that. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know, but definitely PlayStation is the way I'm going to go with the game for sure. What other questions, comments, concerns do we have talking about the world of NASCAR? Busy weekend at Watkins Glen again. Also Racing America 2. There's a really busy week. I'm going to have to, where's my hat? Oh, putting on my Racing America hat for a second. I guess just like doing this for a second. There are a lot of events happening on racingamerica.tv. There's also some free events happening on the Racing America YouTube channel and Fast channel, their 24/7 streaming service. You talk about the ROC race that's happening this Friday, where Ryan Preece is actually going to be one of the honorary starters for that event. You've got the lead up to the Oxford 250, one of the biggest short track races there is. I know we have the Snowball Derby, that's a big one too, but Oxford 250 is one of the biggest ones for the Pro All-Stars Series. So you want to make sure that you check out kind of their lead up to it this weekend, the qualifier, I guess, for that event. So it's a really big deal. Oh, NASCAR Thunder. What's everyone's favorite NASCAR game? Very curious about this too. I love, you all know me, I like Dirt to Daytona. I used to dislike that game with a burning passion. And then I was like, you know what? This game ain't that bad. It's actually pretty good. So definitely, I'm a big fan of Dirt to Daytona. There's other NASCAR games I like too. There's other ones I like as well. I remember, some of you guys might remember this for me. I actually used to partner with Motorsport Games back in the day. And so I would get like NASCAR Rivals and stuff like that. And I actually really did like NASCAR Rivals. There were some glitches with the game for sure, but it wasn't bad. I am more of a fan of the kind of like the arcade games. I'm somebody who grew up on Mario Kart. So it's no, I guess, surprise that those are the games I gravitate towards. NASCAR Arcade Rush, I actually really like that game too. A lot of people were mad at it, but I'm like, it's an arcade game. Don't dislike it because it's not what you thought it was going to be, because it's very clear what it was going to be. Dirt to Daytona, well liked. NASCAR 2011, the game. Ooh, is that who's on the cover of NASCAR 2011? Is that Inside Line? Hold on. NASCAR. Yeah, it is Inside Line. Okay. Yeah. Because I was like, wait a second, 2011. I like that game too. It's really good. Total Team Control is a good one. I like that too. It's a little bit more complex. I like my racing games to be pretty simplified. And then I'm also like, well, I like Gran Turismo as well. And that's not as simple. There's so many options and things like that. Oh, you had the first NASCAR racing on PC. Oh, I love that. Love that. My goodness. There's so much content that we have coming out, you guys. Next week, I am so excited. We're going to be dropping a video on motorsport movies through time that the entire team of interns is working on. I have a segment in that video, and each of them has their own segment, and I'm very excited to kind of talk about that. I actually got to watch a lot of motorsports movies for the first time. You all know last week I had a minor, I guess I got a tooth taken out. Let's be real. I had a tooth taken out. And so I was not able to film anything for like 2 days because like my face was really puffy. So I'm like, I'm just going to watch movies and like do this and like contribute to the video. So I watched Ford versus Ferrari for the first time, like notably, and that one was really, really good. I'm not going to lie, did not know the real story behind it. So it was cool to learn it. And I was like, this is like kind of like an upbeat, fun, comedic type kind of movie. It was lighter in tone compared to like Rush and all those things. And then the movie ended. I'm like, oh my God. Like, this is heavy. Like, I didn't realize that there was some sad things that happened at the end of Ford versus Ferrari. So a little bit of a heartbreaker, but I was very excited though to have that part of this video that we're working on for next week. I have the Prestige era of movies. We're talking about all eras of motorsport movies, and then of course, if you guys have a certain interest in one movie in particular, like we will do a deep dive into it. During the off season, I'm so excited because I really want to do like movie commentaries and watch alongs within the motorsport world. I think you guys would love that. I remember a few years ago, if you guys were around for this long, we did a Cars watch along, Cars and Cars 2, and it was very, very fun. Yeah, wisdom teeth. Yeah. Yeah. It's a time. It really is a time. But yeah, lots of fun off-season content that we're trying to plan now. I know we are a bit away from the off-season, but it's going to come up on us very, very fast. I'm also excited too. A lot of you guys have been asking me, when am I going to be back at the track? Well, I will be back at the track, Darlington, starting at Darlington. I will be there for the Roval and of course for Martinsville, the final race before the championship event. So very excited about that. It's going to be a very, very busy month. I guess few months I should say, leading up. At the end of August, it's just go, go, go until the end of this season. But a lot of fun things coming up for us here on the ATYL Media channel. So make sure to check us all out on all social media platforms. Of course, if you missed our recent content, we have my take on the race at Iowa, which I was pretty frustrated by, not going to lie. I kind of took every issue that we had with the Gen 7 car and just put it on display, especially considering the race last year was pretty good. I understand we had one driver lead most of that race, but I felt like it was more compelling just because that patch of the track that they had repaved made the cars behave a little bit differently. Now, of course, that's been worked in and we didn't get a lot of variance there. But of course, my take on the Iowa race for NASCAR, Laura, one of our lovely interns at the ATYL Media channel, will be joining our team actually in the next few weeks officially. No longer an intern, just part of our team. I'm very excited about that. She made a video on Cars. She has a deep love for the Cars movies. I love the Cars movies, the entire team. And I know you guys love the Cars movies. So she did a really awesome video kind of talking about the culture of the Cars movies, what it got right, what it got wrong. And it is so fun. So make sure to go check that out. Slash and Dash, of course, for Sal. Moving to a new time starting next week, Monday mornings at 8 a.m. Make sure you check it out again. It's right after the race day. So no longer Tuesday mornings going to be happening on Monday mornings, so we can talk about the race as soon as it ends the next day. So make sure to be on the lookout for that. And then, of course, Goat Locker Racing's Goat Talk Live. They do shows every week, and they're getting ready for their fall season. And, of course, I should have the QR code on my screen. What am I doing, Taylor? But if you go to their social media pages, there is a way for you to sign up for their sim racing leagues. You do not have to be a veteran to participate, a first responder, anything like that. Anyone can participate in their leagues. Of course, though, Goat Locker Racing is a 501c3 nonprofit that supports our nation's heroes. So you can help support them as well and compete against them too in a fun sim racing league. So we love to see it. John. Yes. So I have been talking to John about a trivia live stream for so long, and that's going to have to wait until the off season because I've tried like crap to pull together some trivia for one of these streams, you guys, and I have not had the time. I think I have the time, and then before I know it, it is like noon on a Thursday or on a Wednesday. We used to do our streams on a Thursday, noon on a Wednesday, and I'm like, oh my god, I have to prepare for this live stream. So we will likely not do trivia until the off season. Unfortunately, we can bring some more of you guys on the show to do that trivia. Of course, we'll do like a I was about to say Quiplash, not Quiplash, Kahoot. We'll do that. So very excited about that too. But check out our latest content in case you missed it. Then, of course, thank you to our partners. Very appreciative of all that they do for us. On Brand, Benzik Designs, NASCAR.shop, The Bright Mentality, and Goat Locker Racing. Would not be able to do what we do without them. Of course, NASCAR.shop. They have a big break happening this Saturday at 9. Well, hello, 9. Hello. They have a big break happening on August 9th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be in the comment section seeing what cards I got from this break. So make sure to tune in and see all of that and get your spots. Again, NASCAR.shop/ATYL. Buy your spots and you'll get 15% off your first card purchases, which is super exciting. So be able to check that out. And then, of course, go to AboveTheLine.com to learn more about us, our team. I'm very excited. We will have our new website launching towards the end of September, beginning of October. I cannot wait for you guys to see it. It looks so, so good. We've been putting it together feverishly since I want to say like what, March. So very excited about this. But everyone, thank you so much for tuning into this live show. I greatly appreciate it. Appreciate you all tuning in every single week. And we will see you next Wednesday for our roundtable episode. Everyone from the ATYL Media team that's able to be here will join to talk all things, all motorsports. You all know we get off the rails sometimes with that show when everyone's on. So it'll be a really fun one. So you don't want to miss it. Apologies for missing the last few Wednesdays every other weeks, but now we are kind of on track to do every Wednesday from here on out. So very excited for my buddy Dom Joseph, befriend a spider. Spiders are our friends. And I appreciate you all so much for tuning in. From myself and the entire ATYL Media team, we appreciate your support. We appreciate your love of the content. And we will see you next Wednesday for our roundtable show. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. And we will see you next time. Again, special thanks to Zach and Cam for joining the show. Thank you all so much.